compiled in the Newstalk Radio Newsroom and powered by DemeraraWaves.com. With the news at this time, I'm Ron Robinson. A very good day to you. First, the lead stories. Assistant Police Commissioner Clifton Hicken has been appointed as acting police commissioner, but the People's National Congress reform plans to challenge it in court. Livestock farmers in West Berbice are complaining bitterly about the theft of sheep and other animals. Regionally, St. Vincent and the Grenadines governing Unity Labour Party needs young blood. At least that's what the Deputy Prime Minister thinks. The details of those and international news from the BBC in a moment. Not seeing returns on your dollar? Then advertise with Newstalk Radio Guyana 103.1 FM and see results. We give you competitive rates, wide coverage, appealing programs, streaming online worldwide on them waves, and we give you value for your money. You'll see returns when you advertise with us. Call our helpful staff today on 223-1056 or 223-1041 for those competitive rates. 103.1 FM, accurate information blended with great music. And now the news in detail. Assistant Police Commissioner Clifton Hicken is now acting Police Commissioner. The Office of the President, late Monday afternoon, said President Irfan Ali appointed Mr. Hicken to act in the Office of the Commissioner of Police in the Guyana Police Force. Mr. Hicken says the transition began on Sunday, a day after his immediate predecessor, Mr. Nigel Hoppy, proceeded on pre-retirement leave. The new acting police commissioner hopes to build trust in the police force.
No, that I'll continue to serve the nation with the structures that have been left. I'll build on the structures. We have a new strategic plan which will be rolled out, and I'll be working in conjunction with all the other stakeholders to ensure that we have a Guyana police force that is, one, transparent and can be trusted. And so we're going to work in collaboration with the Sensory and all the other stakeholders.
Acting Police Commissioner Clifton Hicken. In related news, the People's National Congress Reform, PNCR, says it will be challenging the constitutionality of the appointment of Assistant Police Commissioner as Acting Police Commissioner. The party notes that the next most senior police officer, Deputy Police Commissioner Paul Williams, has been bypassed. Prior to his appointment as Acting Police Commissioner, he had been styled Acting Deputy Police Commissioner. But the PNCR states that to promote Mr. Hicken to the rank of Deputy Commissioner of Police or to have him act in the office is a blatant violation of the Constitution and will be challenged in a court of law. Acknowledging that there is no opposition leader or police service commission at the moment, the PNCR said the appointment of a police commissioner or deputy police commissioner is plainly unconstitutional. The PNCR, the major party in the opposition coalition, has taken steps for its leader, Aubrey Norton, to become a parliamentarian after March 31, 2022, and eventually be voted in by the opposition parliamentarians as opposition leader. A number of service commissions, police commissioner, chancellor, and the Chief Justice can be appointed only after consultation between the President and the opposition leader. The PNCR is demanding that the government rescind Hicken's appointment and allow for a process of full transparency, legality, and meritocracy within the Guyana Police Force. Health Minister Dr. Frank Anthony says a new variant of the coronavirus in Western Europe can be easily transmitted. He says the new COVID-19 or the new COVID Omicron variant is known as BA2.
Now what you're having is a new wave that is caused by a subvariant BA2. And BA2, the scientists have found that it's more transmissible. So we are having a more transmissible variant at a time when a lot of countries have relaxed measures, such as masking, and therefore you're seeing a lot more people getting infected, and some of those persons are ending up in hospital.
The health minister says this new variant can easily affect several categories of persons.
So persons, elderly persons who would have, who are not vaccinated, would have a challenge, first of all. And those whose vaccine would have weaned after about a 6 months period, they too would have some challenges. Although what they're also noticing is that if you had a vaccine, then the severity of the infection is not as much. So that's a positive. And even getting long COVID is reduced if you are vaccinated. So there are many reasons why one should really get vaccinated.
He says since the relaxation of the COVID measures here in Guyana, fewer people have been turning up for testing or vaccines. Livestock farmers in Region 5, Mahaica West Belize, are complaining that police are doing little to investigate the theft of animals there. The issue surfaced on Sunday when President Irfan Ali launched the Black Belly Sheep Project at Onvawak, West Coast, Belize.
The initiative that you have with the sheep is a great one, but there's a more greater problem in that area with the person who are stealing sheep. It's a problem that is plaguing the whole of Region 5. It's a major problem. Last week, the Imam lost 35 sheep, they left him with 5. He sold out the 5.
The farmer told the president, in the presence of other farmers, that the police do not investigate complaints of animal theft.
Here's what we will do. We will have to develop a special group, like we have the community policing group, a special group among the farmers that will look at the anti-rustling group. So let us, where is the commander? Commander.
And Your Excellency, sometimes when you go to the police station, the police them just treat you like the criminal and use the and
you hear? You hear how the police treat them people? Can you identify any of the police?
No.
Dr. Ali joining the farmer in voicing concern to the divisional police commander who was also there. A number of the other farmers endorsed the complaint about animal theft.
We are going to work with you. I'm going to ask the commander to meet with and agriculture to meet with all the farmers next week to work on creating a team to look at the anti-rustling. And it's a major issue you have here. Yeah, but you need to get the solution. You need to find the people. Don't tell me you can't find the people.
And when you go to, and plus when you go to them also, there's no one coming out and do any investigation to find out what sheep you lost or how many sheep you lost. There's no one coming out to do an investigation.
Because the police, they're going to be sheep.
Thank you, sir.
A farmer complaining to the president about the theft of sheep and other animals in Region 5. Barbados is sending 1,000 black-belly sheep to Guyana next month to produce mutton for export to Barbados and eventually other Caribbean islands. One of the 3 men held in connection with a $79 million Guyana dollar marijuana bust has pleaded guilty and has been jailed. The Customs Anti-Narcotics Unit says Messiah Durant was sentenced to 50 months imprisonment and fined more than $200 million Guyana dollars. Linden magistrate won the fortune, however granted bail of $2 million Guyana dollars each to 44-year-old Sean Lindy and his son, 29-year-old Sean Lindy Jr. The bail was granted to the Lindys after they pleaded not guilty. Kanu says the men were arrested last Saturday in a house at Develt, Upper Berbice River. And now, regional news. The Antigua and Barbuda government has stepped up its efforts to stave off efforts by the European Union, EU, to derail the controversial Citizenship by Investment Programme, CBI. Prime Minister Gaston Brown says he has sent a letter to the EU on the issue. He says he has told the EU about the economic impact that they are about to inflict on Eastern Caribbean citizenship by investment programs and the impact on their economies. Last week, he called on the Organization of Eastern Caribbean States, OECS, to provide a united front on the issue. He said that the letter would provide evidence that Antigua and Barbuda probably hold the most robust due diligence process before citizenship can be granted. Under the CBI, foreign investors are afforded citizenship of a country in return for making a significant investment in the socio-economic development of the particular country. Several Caribbean countries have instituted CBI programs. The United States has moved to decline visas to holders of passports obtained by the CBI, and the European Union has passed a law giving countries 3 years to phase out the program or face visa requirements for all its passport holders. In St. Lucia, Prime Minister Philip J. Pierre announced a plan to help vulnerable St. Lucians cope with anticipated increases in the price of electricity due to hikes in the cost of fuel. Pierre, responsible for finance, told reporters that disadvantaged individuals, people who have no income, and those who are unemployed would benefit. He says the Social Security Fund will support the vulnerable according to their needs. Pierre said there would be a process through the St. Lucia Social Development Fund regarding accessing funds. The St. Lucia Electricity Services Limited announced in a release Friday that despite its fuel price hedging program and renewable energy efforts, the sharp hike in oil prices would increase the fuel surcharge for electricity bills. Prime Minister Pierre remarked that the answer to the problem includes less dependence on fossil fuels. St. Vincent and the Grenadines' Deputy Prime Minister Montgomery Daniel says the time has come for the ruling Unity Labour Party, ULP, to look towards younger leadership. He made the point in Parliament on Thursday as he commended the party on 21 years in office. The 66-year-old Daniel has been functioning as the party's de facto deputy leader after Sir Louis Straker did not contest the 2020 general elections. The ULP had said that a convention would have been held within a year of the polls to elect a deputy leader, but no convention was held and none has been held for years. Daniel's comments came on a day that the party's political leader, Prime Minister Ralph Gonsalves, who turned 76 in August, missed Parliament because a terrible flu really mashed him up, as he said. Daniel, who has been a parliamentarian since 2001, said that after 21 years, he believes that he has made a great contribution. He said that historically, 21 years means a lot in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Daniel said Daniel said that congratulations were always in order when, in 1998, Vincent Beach, the then opposition leader, told the ULP it was time for him to move on and to pass the mantle to the political leader, Gonsalves. And now for international news, we join the BBC.
Hello, I'm David Harper with the BBC News. Russian negotiators say Moscow has decided to drastically reduce military activity in the northern Ukrainian areas of Kiev and Chernihiv following peace talks in Turkey. Russia's Deputy Defense Minister Alexander Fomin said the aim was to bolster confidence.
Due to the fact that negotiations over an agreement on Ukraine's neutrality and non-nuclear status and security guarantees are moving into a practical stage, and taking into consideration the principles discussed during today's meeting, the Ministry of Defense of the Russian Federation has taken the decision to drastically reduce combat operations in the Kiev and Chernihiv areas in order to boost mutual trust.
Ukrainian negotiators say they hope the progress will lead to a meeting between President Zelensky and Putin. In Kiev, the government said it noted the withdrawal of some Russian military units from both areas. Our diplomatic correspondent James Landale says it's not yet clear what the Russian move means.
On the one hand, that is ostensibly a confidence-building measure, but it is also potentially a sign of a decision by Russia to redeploy military forces, maybe away from those areas to the east, where they have said in recent days they want to focus their military activities. So this is the context of all of these talks and the suspicion that lies behind them, which is that maybe the Russian side want to buy some time to resupply, to regroup, and to refocus energy, rather than necessarily actually agree a deal here.
Fighting has been continuing in many parts of Ukraine. Local authorities say Russian forces have shelled the city of Chernihiv. Its mayor estimates 400 residents have been killed there since the war began. In the south, 7 people have died in a Russian missile strike on the offices of the regional administration in Mykolaiv. The Netherlands, Belgium and Ireland are the latest European countries to expel Russian diplomats, accusing them of being spies. The Dutch foreign minister said 17 Russians had been told to leave, describing them as a security threat. Belgium has expelled 21 diplomats working at Moscow's embassy in Brussels and the consulate in Antwerp. Ireland has ordered out 4 Russian officials. In other news, health workers in Nigeria say at least 7 people were killed in an attack on a train on Monday night. Service on the Abuja-Kaduna line has been suspended. Chris Iwoko reports.
A statement by the Kaduna State Commissioner for Internal Security, Samuel Arunwa, said the evacuation of the trapped passengers has been concluded, but search and rescue operations continues. Armed gangs blew the track, forcing the train to derail. The attackers forced their way onto the train, shot some passengers at close range, and abducted an unknown number of people. There were nearly 1,000 passengers on the train at the time of the incident.
Chris Iwoko reporting. You're listening to the latest world news from the BBC. British police say they've issued an initial 20 fines over events hosted at government offices in London in breach of coronavirus restrictions. Officers have been investigating a dozen gatherings at Downing Street and the Cabinet Office, some attended by the Prime Minister Boris Johnson. Media reports of alcohol-fuelled lockdown parties led to calls for Mr Johnson's resignation earlier this year. The International Monetary Fund and Mozambique have reached agreement on a loan of nearly $500 million, the first since the IMF suspended support 6 years ago. The IMF said it expected final approval to be made in the coming weeks. International donors cut off aid to Mozambique following a $2 billion corruption scandal in 2016. Pumza Filani reports.
In 2016, the government revealed that it had taken out loans without informing Parliament or its donors, known in the country as the hidden debt scandal. This led to the IMF and most of Mozambique's donors suspending aid and financial support. Some high-profile officials are currently before the courts over alleged corruption and fraud in relation to the scandal. Now, under a new government, officials in Mozambique say they are hoping to revive the struggling economy and improve worsening poverty.
The United Nations peacekeeping mission in the Democratic Republic of Congo has lost contact with one of its helicopters flying over a conflict zone in the east of the country. MONUSCO said it disappeared in the Chanzu area, which was attacked by rebels from the M23 group on Sunday night. Dozens of women in Iran have protested outside a football stadium, saying they were not allowed in to watch a men's World Cup qualifier match between Iran and Lebanon. Video posted online shows the women expressing anger outside the venue in the city of Mashhad. In recent years, Iran has allowed a limited number of women to attend some football games, ending a decades-long ban. It's not clear if some women were allowed into the game. BBC News.
And now to end the news, a look at the local and regional highlights. Assistant Police Commissioner Clifton Hicken has been appointed as Acting Police Commissioner, but the People's National Congress Reform plans to challenge it in court. Livestock farmers in West Berbice are complaining bitterly about the theft of sheep and other animals. And regionally, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, governing Unity Labour Party, needs young blood. At least that's what the Deputy Prime Minister thinks. And that's the end of the news. This has been the news, compiled in the News Talk Radio newsroom. For ongoing updates, visit demerarawaves.com, and you can check facebook.com/demwaves and twitter.com/demwaves.